Me
It's
too.
okay, we can do it together. The reason I did it, I thought you were supposed to do the second part with your group too, but then when I read the instructions, it just told me to do it. And so
Really?
I, yeah, the instructions on the homework, or
Okay.
the, what is that? It just says do part one, and then it says do part two. So I was like, all right, I'll do part two.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's not a big deal. We could do it together.
Okay.
It'd probably be easier to do it together.
Probably.
Okay, so for number 6, we have to determine the correct sampling method for each scenario. So for A was kind of tricky. Did you guys watch the videos that went along with the reading?
Okay. Oh yeah, the one with the biblical video.
There's 2 introduction videos that went with the reading. And the reading
I
talks about
think.
the 4 main types of sampling, which are systematic, stratified,
Yes, I did.
simple random sample, and then cluster.
Yes.
Those 4. And then another part, and it's just this little cutoff part, talks about what's called invalid sampling methods, which is just like they can introduce bias into your study. And one of them is called convenience sampling. And that's just like you take those, or you get those surveys from those people because they went to that particular Walmart, you know?
Okay.
So it's like everyone that went to the Walmart
Mhm.
in Rexburg, Idaho took this survey, so that's my sample now. So you're like, that's clearly bias. Depending.
Okay.
But for 6A, the answer actually is convenience sampling, but it's hard to find.
Okay.
Did you guys get that?
Do we want to divide this up so each of us like gives our answer on it, and then we all discuss it, or how do you want to do it?
Well, whatever you feel comfortable with doing. Like, I already
I
did
just
part
want to make.
2.
Okay. I just want to make sure like you don't feel like you're doing all the work and I'm doing nothing.
Oh, no. I'm good. That part I
Okay.
couldn't find to save my life until I watched the video. Which the videos weren't included the last time I tried to take this class. So I was like, it was really nice. So what do you guys think B is?
Random? Uh-huh.
What did you say, Sarah?
Okay. Keep that back. Keep your contact. All right. All right.
Is it systematic?
Sarah? Is she frozen or is she?
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm just thinking, sorry.
no, you're okay.
It's either systematic or simple random sample?
One of those for sure.
I got systematic,
Okay.
and that's because it's the every 1,000th name. So every time you have a particular, like K, TH, Kth is usually what they would say.
Okay.
Um, it's like every third person, so it's very systematic. So you would start at a random number. Let's say you're like, oh, I'm going to start at the 6th person, but then I'm going to go every 4. So you would start at person number 6, and then do 10, and then do 14, and then, so it's systematic.
Okay.
And it'll always say the kth part, so like every 1,000th name or every third name or whatever. Okay, and then for C, what do you guys think that is?
Simple random?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and then D?
Yeah, that makes
Cluster?
sense. She's divided up into groups, and then she's pulling so many from each group.
Right.
She tell you? Oh.
So I got stratified for that one.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And that was because
I'm excited for you.
they're grouped categories of similar age. Pretty much. And then you're taking a simple random sample of each. So that's like the key with the stratified is that they're in similar groups and then you're taking a simple random sample of those groups.
Okay.
And then what did you guys get for E? Or what do you think for E?
Oh, you're right.
Is that one cluster?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And and the definitions they give us on page 1 make it kind of difficult. Like, I've already taken half the class. That's the only reason I'm, like, more familiar.
You're like an expert.
So then they're grouped into basically just, like, random groups. They're all similar groups, but they're groups that hopefully represent, like, the mass majority. So the researcher surveys all cardiac patients. So it's like the patients hopefully represent the entire cardiac nation, pretty
Right.
much. And then in each of the 30 randomly selected hospitals, so then you randomly select them, which would be the cluster. You randomly select one or more of the groups and sample everyone in them. That's the key with that one. I think I clicked onto was they do everyone in that group instead of picking some from the group.
There we go. Sorry, it like froze and then disappeared.
Oh, you're okay. Did you hear everything we said about E, or what we said the answer was?
Not at all.
Okay, we picked cluster sampling because the cardiac patients are a group or into a group that hopefully represents the entire population, which is part of it, and then they are randomly selecting one or more groups and sampling everyone in the group. So in each of the 30, they survey all patients in each of the 30 randomly selected hospitals, and that's why I chose cluster, because it said they surveyed all the patients in the 30 groups of randomly selected. Does that make sense?
I guess I just don't understand the difference in that one and the stratified.
Right. So for the stratified, what I caught on to is they aren't in the groups they are not surveying everyone in the group. They're only surveying a certain number of the group. So they're literally doing a simple random sample of that group.
Okay, but then in like the one about the... Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
for E, it says they're doing all the cardiac patients, and each of the hospitals are part of the cardiac patients, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yep, so that's the basic difference. With cluster, they do them all, and with stratified, they only do a random sample of the groups.
Okay. So, okay, thank you.
Yeah. And then number 7, what do you think A is?
This one's a tricky one.
Yeah.
Is it either stratified or cluster?
Mm-hmm.
I would go with, I don't know, what do you think, Sarah?
So would that be the cluster one as well?
Yep,
Sweet.
because it's doing all the patients. Woohoo!
Yes. Hey, you're a good teacher. Thanks.
No problem. I love math.
Well, good. 'Cause I don't, so it'll be a good help.
Same.
Okay, so then B, what do you guys think?
Is that simple random?
Yep.
That's what I would say.
Yep, just because, and I always think of that one because they're always going to randomly select it somehow, like a computer or a hat or something. It's just going to be random. Okay, and then C.
Stratified.
Yep.
Definitely.
Good job.
Thanks.
We got this.
Okay, and then D.
Oh, that's the oh shoot. That's systematic.
What do you think, Sarah?
I agree.
Yep. Yep. Because they pick every 5th person. Okay, and then for number 8, experimental, these words get kind of confusing too because it's like what we grew up with, then they completely changed the definitions of them.
Really?
Yeah, kind of. That's how I felt when I first tried to learn it because it was like response variable, and I'm like, because like the definition in our reading of the response variable is what is the dependent variable, and I was like, I'm not even really sure what that means.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and it's really just what changes. It's what they're testing. That's what the response variable is. It's what they're testing.
Okay.
So basically, it's like seeing what the response would be of something not in the norm, not expected.
Yep.
So,
go ahead.
go ahead. I was just gonna ask what if I had a guess for what A was, but I'm not sure.
Go ahead.
Is it an observational study?
Yeah. Yep. Do you know why?
Because they're gathering the data and observing it, just looking at it instead
Right.
of not testing anything necessarily.
Right. They didn't actually do anything to any of the people. It's just whatever state they were in before.
Right.
Yep. Perfect. So then B, you have to decide which one it is.
So that one's definitely experimental.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would say the response would be the actual let's see. The actual medication?
Close. So they are testing or experimenting on insomnia patients. So the subjects would be the insomnia patients, right?
Right.
So then what they are testing for is whether or not what they are giving them or not giving them is going to help their sleep.
So then the placebo, would that be the response?
The response would be how many hours of sleep they're getting. Because it's like you take the subjects, you introduce the treatment, and then the response is what's left. So you take the insomnia patients, and then you give them the sleep ease, or you give them a placebo, and then you mark the response or collect the response, which is how many hours. So it's basically what you observe. So if they're getting more sleep, that's their variable, or if they're not getting enough sleep. So the variable is just how many hours of sleep they're getting, both groups.
Wait. So you just lost me because you said the response and the variable, like, you said they were the same thing.
Well, it's because the definition is response variable. Sorry, the actual whole word is response variable.
Yeah.
That
makes sense, yeah.
Sorry. So the subjects are the insomnia patients, and then the treatment is group 1 gets the sleepies, group 2 gets a placebo. So then the response to the treatment, the response to the treatment is what they're watching for. So that would be hours of sleep. Does that make sense any better?
Design, is that just like what they did to conduct the experiment?
Would it be the question?
Would it be what?
Like the question? Like what they're looking for?
What they're looking for? Oh, for the response variable?
No,
for the response.
say the design.
Oh, the design, and basically when they say it's experimental, it's designed. So like you put together this study. They just didn't put the whole word there. Yeah.
I was looking at it like it was like its own thing. Never mind. I feel stupid.
Right. No, you're fine. So if you look at the in B, and I have to circle and underline things when I go through these word problems, but it says a new drug is supposed to reduce insomnia, so you randomly divide 1,000 patients So I was like, who are we testing? That would be 1,000 patients, so that would be my subjects.
Mm-hmm.
And then half of them are going to get sleepies and the other half a placebo. So what treatment am I giving them, or what am I controlling? So sleepies and the placebo would be the treatment. And then you record the gender of each subject, which is kind of irrelevant at this point. And you will then observe how many hours of sleep they get. So their response to my treatment is what I'm looking for. So it's like, so then I observed how many hours of sleep. So it's whatever you observe or whatever you record would be the response.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So then number 9A. What do you think it is?
Seems like experiment to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then what are the subjects?
The people.
Yeah. And then whenever you do the subjects, I think you want to emphasize like the description of the people, because it's like insomnia patients or people with skin irritations. Because it's not just, people.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think they're looking for like the specifics on it, as weird as that is. And then what is the response variable in the experiment? So what are they observing at the end of the experiment?
See if their skin irritation went away, or...
Yep. The degree of their skin irritation, so whether it's worse or whether it's better. And then what are the treatments?
The different levels of cream.
Yep. That's it.
Hey.
You guys feel good about that?
Yep.
Yeah, I do. Pretty simple, straightforward.
Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna go in to the group meeting quiz. It's in our class under this week.
Do we all have to get on that?
I think we all have to take it, but I'm gonna take it because it says attend group preparation. As a group, work through the problems on part 2. Check your answers using the answer key. And then after you've completed the group assignment, click start to begin the quiz. You are encouraged to work together on the quiz, but you each have to submit your own answers.
Okay.
So we can work together, we just have to do it.
Yeah, so I think it's something like our homework, where there's going to be a bunch of questions about all this stuff. So do you want to go through it and read it and answer it together?
That'd be awesome.
Okay. So I'm going to start it. And it's under week 1, lesson 2.
Lesson 2, group meeting.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I'm pressing start.
Okay. Okay, so 1, well, I guess we could just answer that one.
Yeah.
True and true to both of those. Okay. What do you guys think the answer is to number 3?
Design the study.
That's what I think too, because they're trying to pound out all the details.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
They don't have the data yet, obviously.
Okay, number 4.
Is that collect data?
I think it's
Or
describe,
data?
because there's a histogram.
Make a chart, yeah.
Okay, number 5. The population.
That would be the citizens, or
Yeah, I think it's the
Supposed to
citizens of
represent it.
Mumbai.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
so then the 3,000 names would be the sample, and then the 1049.
would be the ones that, what would be the name for those?
I think the 3000 and the 1049 would be grouped together in one sampling style.
Okay.
I think it would be because they take random sample. I think it would be stratified. No, because that one's systematic, right?
Well, if you go to the next one, it asks like who the sample is, and it says I think it's the 3,000 people who were mailed the questionnaire. So like you were saying, it's them combined, right?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then I think the sampling type was going to be stratified, yeah. What did we say for 6? Sorry.
I think it's the 3,000 people who were mailed the questionnaire. That's just what I would guess. But.
That sounds
Yeah.
right.
Yep, that's what I think.
Okay.
Okay, 7.
Is that categorical?
Hold on, I'm not done reading. Oh, what type of data? 10 question quiz. I don't know, because you could... Is the data specifically... Does the number have a meaning? So, like, because there could be a percentage, because I think we're dealing with percentages. I think that's it's the percentage of how much you remember after doing that versus not. So I think I would go with quantitative, but I might be wrong.
So it's, yeah, doing that based off of how much you, like, how soon you study after class, and like within the next few days. So yeah, so they're looking for like the retention based off of your study habits, pretty much.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
So would it be categorical if they said like which of these methods helped you with your retention the most?
Yeah, that would be categorical because there's not a number and the number doesn't have a meaning if there is a number.
Okay.
So, oh wait, so yeah, so this one's quantitative and the number 8 is exactly what you just said.
Okay.
Where it's the same scenario, but instead of testing you, he asks you if you feel confident that you have retained it. So that one would be categorical.
Okay.
Anytime there's not a number or if the number doesn't have a meaning, like a jersey number is the example they used, like the number 55 on a jersey, you can't double that, you can't divide it, it doesn't really mean anything, you know?
Mhm.
It's just that it's like a placeholder.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 9.
I think. I think it's control.
The one that gets no material?
Right.
Yeah, I think I would say controlled. Because he's introducing material, right?
Right.
In the study? Yeah, okay.
That's right.
That makes sense. So the control is the one that nothing different's happening.
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly in the state it was in before you started the experiment.
Ten would be the second one, right?
Yeah, administering the tuberculosis.
Okay, and then 11.
Is it many randomly selected workers?
That's what I would say because I think it would have the least amount of bias.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you go to like one area, it could be all poverty or not. If you do every 10th worker, like, yeah.
Okay.
The children?
Yeah, they would be our subjects because that's who we're testing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, real quick question. Sorry, I'm thinking about the other one. So if we had like chosen every 10th worker, would that be like convenience basically? Because it's like those you just run into.
No, every 10th would be, they would count it. So like every 10th, anytime you have a number, like I'm going to do every 3rd or every 10th, it's systematic.
So it's like as you're traveling. Okay, so I guess the bias in that is that you wouldn't be necessarily going to places where people work.
Well, the bias in that I think is that it would be one area or they wouldn't necessarily be workers. Like you could hit, the 10th person could be a child, the 10th person could be a mother, you know?
Hmm.
So
Okay.
it's like, oh, well, they make 0 income. And in your assignment or in your data, it'll say a 0. But in reality, then that's a bias because they don't work. So how are you supposed to test their income?
Right.
Okay, so number 13, what are the treatments?
The vaccine, right?
Yeah, the vaccine and the placebo. Okay, 14.
This is long.
I know.
Experiments? This is tricky.
Yeah, study.
Yeah, so they're removing the people out of the areas, right?
Yeah.
Vouchers.
So that's definitely not observational because they're not just watching it happen. Yeah, if
Yeah.
they were assigned, it'd have to be experiment.
Yeah, because
So-
they're changing the state they're already in.
Yeah.
And what are they
treatment,
testing
like
for?
how they moved.
Yeah, okay. I would say that would be an experiment because they're giving people the opportunity to move to see if it'll affect poverty levels. Oh yeah, do you guys remember p-value? That
Yes.
wasn't something. Okay. Because what did I say?
Let me see.
If it's less than 0.05, then we reject the null.
So that means it's very, very, very accurate.
No, not from what I understood.
If you said it's less than 0.05, we
If-
reject the null, and the null is what we're accepting as to be true.
Right. Okay, so in the question though, it's assuming the null is true.
So is
Oh,
that
maybe I just didn't.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it is less than 0.05, this was so confusing for me. Less than 0.05, then we are rejecting the null. Because there's not enough instances where this has happened that we can say it's true for the whole population. Does that make sense?
And the null is like the debate, basically.
Yeah, the null is what we perceive as true already, like just what's already there. Because it doesn't necessarily, when it's above 0.05, that doesn't necessarily mean that the null is the absolute truth. It just means it's not rejected because we can't prove it wrong. Because there are enough instances happening that could be true.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Okay.
smaller the number, the less instances. That's all I can think of. I could be wrong, but I think that's it.
Okay.
so then 16 is false as well?
I don't know.
You should tell Jeff to quit distracting.
What?
So tell him to stop distracting.
Yeah, Jeffrey, come
sorry.
on.
Sorry, guys.
Come on, Jeffrey.
in there.
I
Jeez.
have an agenda to meet.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. We said 16 was false?
I think it is, because if we're rejecting the null, then
Yeah.
that makes the null hypothesis false.
I think so too. That's what I understood in the reading. I do remember that I got this one wrong the first time I ever took this quiz though, so
Oh, really?
yeah. But I think it's really confusing because literally what we went over in the reading was that if the probability, because the P is the probability, so this is the probability of the null happening. And if the probability is really, really low of it happening, then we can't accept it as true. It's like there's not enough instances of it happening.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm gonna keep it that way and see what happens.
What are you gonna put? Are you gonna put true or false?
I'm putting false for both.
Okay. Okay. That's what I'll do.
Okay, and then we have to match. So, Daniel can discern more truth.
Design the study,
Is that A?
collect data, and you can.
So I have DBACE.
Yeah, that's right.
Hold on.
B, B,
What do you have?
DBACE.
C, step 1 would be design the study.
Oh wait, I put the wrong. Dang it! I always put the wrong letters on here when I switch them back and forth.
I know. So, I have B like boy, D is in dog, C is in cat, A is an apple, and then E is an elephant.
So step 1 is describe the data?
No, I have step 1 is just design the study.
Oh, okay, I heard you wrong. And then,
Oh wait.
action?
these are all different.
2
Yeah.
is collect data.
Okay, 2 is collect data. Okay, and then take action is 3.
No, take action is step 5.
Oh,
Two is collect data.
yeah, I got that. Oh, it's all mixed up.
Oh wait, maybe I didn't even think that. Maybe all of our
Yeah.
yeah. So it's Daniel can discern more truth. That's how they encourage you to remember it. And so if you look at the words next to the thing, Daniel can discern more truth. Design the study, collect data, describe the data, make inferences, and then take action.
Yep. 89.
Oh, did we miss the p-value thing? Because I swear that's what it says.
The one you always get wrong, we got wrong.
Dang it. I don't know. I'll have to look at that one again then. Well, sorry guys. But thanks for meeting.
Alright.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll see
Thursday,
you.
right?
Yep, Thursday, same time.
Perfect.
Okay, bye.